In security for 16 years, worked in clubs, been a bodyguard, now in security. He's been a bodybuilder, weightlifting, MMA. I mean, look at him, 6'3". It's great. He's married with 2 kids, 14, 9, and 7. They're into art, sports, gaming, and he seems to have a great joy in helping people, taking care of kids and serving, which is kind of ultimately where this came up 2.5 years ago. So he's got the background to do this. His superpower is thinking like a bad guy, and Dustin's superpower is reading people and getting them to talk. So I think that they make a really good duo. And thirdly, they have the heart for this. So I'm really excited to hear more about their nonprofit. And remember, helping others is its own reward.
Nice.
Thanks, guys.
Well, that was really good. Thank you. I appreciate it. So Michael and Dustin, we met a few years ago doing bodyguard work and security together. It was complete coincidence, or, it was God. I like to think it's that. But we were working together and we were doing jobs and we were stuck in the car together for multiple days, just sitting outside, doing some executive protection work. And we started talking about our families, we started talking about our joys, and what we both realized was we get paid really good, right? We like our jobs, but it's not as fulfilling as I want life to be. So we started talking about, all the stuff that was happening in the news, and I'm like, this is something that I want to do. And he said, me too, right? That's all he did. And we're like, well, we need to do something then, right? So we started Project Child Rescue back in 2023. But we both have a long history of protecting and security. Dustin is extremely decorated. I'll give you guys, he wasn't sure he was gonna make it here. He has his own company. He's a big shot. He did make it. I'm very grateful, but he is ex-Special Forces. He's a Marine. He's a police detective. I'm very honored that we got to work together. And so we were working together, and we just decided that this was something that we wanted to pursue. We saw that there was a problem, there wasn't enough people helping to fix that problem, and decided that if we wouldn't do it, who would, right? So Project Child Rescue was born, and we just want to share with you guys some of the things that we've seen and how you guys can help in your community, because it is in our community. Sadly, this is an epidemic that knows no bounds. There is no safe place. It's just not. You want to be my clicker? Feel free to, like I said, interject. So, again, we kind of, I guess I should start. Dustin has wrote a book about his time in the military. He was on Cops. Forgot about that. He was on the show. Yeah, right?
On the good side?
Some of our training, the stuff that we've done. And Project Child Rescue is the name. If you want to check out our website, it is projectchildrescue.com. I'm not a techie guy. Apparently it's supposed to be .org. What people have told me, but it's .com. Sorry. There's a site there. You can check it out. It talks about us, talks about our mission, so on. Anything you want to add about yourself?
No, I think he touched on it.
On the good side? All right, on the good side.
I was on Cops, on the good side.
Let's go to the next page then. So I kind of jumped the gun on. Oh, that's the wrong page. We need to go back a
Justin?
little bit.
You should trust me.
Yeah, keep going. Let's see. We missed, or maybe I just messed it up. Yep, keep going a little farther back. One more. Okay, there we go. So what we do. Again, now that you kind of have a history about us and how we came to be, you kind of know how we do this. So we investigate, and that basically entails doing exactly what police do, right? We don't have special superpowers. In fact, we have less authority than police do, so we have to work harder than they do. We have to interview people, we have to look at different types of footage, and try to discern what might have happened, where they could be, whether it's a runaway situation, which many times it is, or whether there is something nefarious. And then we have to try to locate and retrieve. And that's where it becomes tricky, and that's where we work with the FBI, We work with local law enforcement as much as we can because, again, we are now considered just civilians. We are limited in our capabilities, but thankfully we do have some really good partners with law enforcement that will step in when needed. So, any questions? I mean, you guys can feel free if you need to, but this is a hard and complicated topic. So really hard questions you might want to reserve for afterwards, where we can go into more detail rather than I'll go on a rampant and go ahead.
To clarify what you guys, the objective of the company is child human trafficking?
Yes, we're anti-child trafficking. Sorry, if so that wasn't specified. I apologize, but yeah, we're an anti-child trafficking company that our goal is to help find those missing children.
That being said, though, we've helped several adults who've reached out to us as well.
Yes, we are not. Our goal is for the children, but we have helped adults. We have helped almost anyone that has called and presented enough evidence that we could pursue. That is one of the biggest problems. Is someone will call me and say, so and so is missing, and I'll be like, okay, what do you have? Because they have to have something for me. We don't have the superpower, so if they say, I don't know, they're just gone, I have nothing to go on. And that is one of the heartbreaks of this job, is people will call you with the saddest, heartbreaking story about their child, about their grandchild, and there's lots of times where I have to say, I'm sorry, I can't do anything because sometimes it's location. A lot of times we get calls from people in New York. And we are both husbands and fathers, and we do this as our passion. As you guys were told, this is something that we do part-time. We both have to work full-time jobs. We both have responsibilities to our wives, to our kids. And so we do this as much as we can. But again, this is not something that I'm out 7 days a week doing as much as I wish that I could. It's just not currently feasible, but lost my train of thought there. But anyway, our goal is to help as many people as we can. But again, if someone does not have any evidence or any trail for us to pick up on, then there's not a lot we can do. And that's sadly quite often. So I'll give you guys some of the basics, some of the, Hollywood portrays this in most movies, which I love Man on Fire, I love a lot of those, Taken movies. But those aren't realistic at all. They usually are not handcuffing someone to a bed and that kind of stuff. It's a manipulation tactic. It's a prison of the mind. They threaten them, they threaten their families. If you tell anyone, I'm gonna do this, whatever. And they target children because children are gullible. Children are easy to manipulate because they are innocent, and so internet is their biggest tool. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about the Roblox and the Minecraft things. They're finding new ways every day to find a way into your home without you even knowing about it. Cell phones, my kids don't get cell phones, none of them, and they probably won't get one until they're 30. But that's because 764, has anyone heard of 764? Okay, that's a group, it's considered a domestic terrorist group now because they are so vile and they target children to not only do stuff like trafficking, but they also target them to hurt themselves. They gain pleasure out of watching them suffer, and that is their whole purpose. And the FBI has now designated them a domestic terrorist group, and we have been asked to help in that regard. It's not a pleasant thing, but it's something that somebody has to do at some point, and you will see things you won't forget. So again, the basics. You're not looking for someone chained to a bed. You're not looking for that. What you're looking for is an ultra controlling adult with a child. You're looking for a child that has no thoughts of their own. Like, you'll see someone and you'll be like, what do you like? I don't know. What do you do for fun? because they don't do any of those things. And sadly, another statistic is usually it's a family member. It can be other people, but statistically, family members, stepfathers, biological fathers, mothers, they will use their child for their own purposes. And anyway, sorry if I get choked up, just let it go. We don't have to talk about it. But yeah, it's manipulation. It's a prison of the mind. They will convince them that if they act out, they lash out, they tell anyone, they do anything, bad things will happen. Children will believe that. So that's how they tend to do this. And again, the internet is the biggest enemy. But again, this can happen anywhere. We were investigating a case less than a month ago that had to do with a church in Fort Collins. And I'm not gonna say the name because it's not fully over. They're not guilty, not guilty. And it wasn't the church, it was happening in the church. There was someone nefarious in the church using that as a cover. And that's here. They were busted by local law enforcement for methamphetamines and child trafficking. And we were told by 2 different parents to investigate this church locally because their child had reports. I forget that sometimes I'm not on social media, and social media I can't say anything. I get banned all the time off TikTok. Because they don't want you talking about this, and you can't say certain words. Sometimes I catch myself going back to that. But anyway, yeah, they were being reported of rape and trafficking and all of these things that you don't want to ever have to talk about or deal with, but sadly, this is the world that we live in. Anything you want to add?
Just to touch on, the behavior aspect of it, I'll tell a quick story. I had just been, this is many years ago, I had just been selected to go to detectives, and I was still working a patrol case, and a call came out that a child had been abducted from the bus stop by a neighbor, and that the parents had caught the abductor mid-act on the side of the road. So obviously, lights and sirens, I was driving as fast as I could. I thought I was gonna show up to a murder scene because any parent who just caught their child being molested would normally turn into a homicide. But when I showed up, the parent was just standing there over the suspect who was sitting on the ground, and the mom had taken the child home. So this was a good, detective showed up and they said, hey, congratulations on getting selected to detectives, this is gonna be your first case. So from there, we started working it, and from the beginning, I didn't understand the behavior, what was going on between the child and the parents. We'll come to find out through the investigation, the parents were also molesting the child. So, just this is the type of thing, like the reality of it is that's why they weren't upset, was because they were doing the same exact thing to this poor child. So that child now, he was taken away, thank goodness, and given the help that he needs. But that kind of puts it into perspective, like how prevalent this actually is. It's not just, the Epstein files or the Sean P. Diddy Combs stuff that we're seeing all over the news. Like, this is happening every single day. Colorado's number 15 on, in the United States for this right now. So it's happening every single day, and it's happening under our noses. And, it's the small telltale signs that we have to look out for. Those children, they're screaming for help, but they're not allowed to. So, yes, ma'am.
So I had heard that, we are a very high traffic area because of I-70, I-80, I-25, right? And so my question is what are those signs as we're looking, as we're driving by or we're talking to people? What are the things that we need to be looking for specifically? And then who do we need to contact when we see certain behaviors?
So that's the difficult part, right? Is like Mike had brought up, children are so malleable that they're trained basically to hide those signals and those things. Like Mike said, kids who don't have answers to certain questions, they look scared. Kind of a funny story, I'll tell this. My daughter, she was born with a genetic disorder, and we used to have to fly her out to Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota every year. And I was a detective at the time, and her and I make it through TSA, and there was 10 cops standing there on the other side when I got through. And they took me to a room, they took me into custody, and I was like, oh, this is not good, what's happening? What did I have in my bag that I totally forgot about? But, when I got through, they're like, hey, we noticed your daughter looks very scared, and I was like, yeah, she's terrified of flying, and we're about to go on a 6-hour flight, so. But it was good that they picked up on those type of things, right?
Yeah.
And that's what, they're specifically trained to look for those type of things at airports and customs, places like that, to look for that kind of behavior in children. But those are the types of things you look for, is just a really scared looking child. So that's one physiological response that nobody can really hide, is lying and fear. So, yes ma'am.
I was just gonna comment that yesterday a man was sentenced to 126 years. He had been grooming 2 girls in Greeley, I think it was, a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old. He had over 10,000 child pornography pictures. I don't know much about the case, but he had flown here from Florida
Oh, no.
to try to get those girls.
It is extremely easy to move children in America. So for example, my family is very multi-ethnic. So my wife is black, my nieces and nephews are all Latino, I have Asian in my family. So we're very ethnic. We go to a family reunion, we're all there, right? But we go to Mexico a lot, me and my brother, and his boys are Mexican, and they don't look at all like us, right? My brother has long hippie hair, and I got a mohawk, and we got these 2 little Mexican boys in the back seat that are 8 and 11. We drive through the border, no problem. There's no ID for these children because they're not 16. We drive through. Mexican police or Mexican border control does not care. They're just like, oh, cool, go. We come back, same thing. They go, who are these children? When we come back to America, they go, who are these children? I go, my brother said his sons, and I said, yeah, my nephews. They looked at them and they go, they relate to you? And the kids are like, just nod. They don't even say a word, just nod. Okay, go ahead. Now, again, we don't even look alike. We don't even look like we're family. And that's how easy, I just took 2 children that don't look like they have any relation. They didn't question them, just related, cool, go. That's how easy it is. Like I said, those could have been my nephews, those could have been somebody else's nephews. That's how simple and easy it is to move children throughout America, whether, so go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to also ask the other question then. So I remember when my daughter was younger, and I'd be walking her down to the other side of the block to get the bus for school. And she thought it was ridiculous, because she's like, oh my gosh, Mom, why are you so worried? And I said, there are bad people out there, and you never know what can happen, and it can happen that quick. She goes, what are the chances it's gonna happen to me? And I was like, it doesn't matter what the chances are, we're gonna make sure you're safe. But, so I would have this conversation multiple times with her. So the question is, how do we help our children understand, without scaring them, but also making them a little scared, of safety, right? Like, whether it be online, whether it be,
Just
whatever.
education. I mean, my kids are the same way. You can imagine I'm ultra paranoid because of what I've seen and witnessed. My children do not go to sleepovers. Sorry, I've seen too many things and heard too many stories about that stuff happening at sleepovers. They don't get to. If they want to come to our house, if their parents are allow that, that's up to their parents. But my kids don't do sleepovers. My kids don't get cell phones. My kids don't get to go by themselves in places that I don't think are safe. And my oldest is 14 and she's a girl, and she always complains about it. And we've had to sit down multiple times, and I have at some point showed her some videos that might have scared her about things that people are willing to do, and sometimes it's not even for a good reason. I mean, there's plenty of videos. If you guys, if you are interested in this topic, guys, you will see it so much more clearly. Once you start to look, it's barely beneath the surface. People think it's not, like it's hard to find. It's not hard to find. It's everywhere, and it's hidden by a layer of dust, and that's it. You brush the dust away, you will see everywhere. You will see things, whether it's in Hollywood, whether it's in your own community, it's everywhere, and you will see it once you start to look. The thing is, you have to be willing to look, and most people don't want to look because you are gonna see things that destroy your worldview. We were all taught a certain worldview. Go to school, go to college, have a good job, have a family. That's all well and good. Not necessarily the reality that exists. I mean, if anything that we've learned, Epstein is not we haven't fixed the problem. He is just one candle that has brought light to like, oh, look, there's this problem that we need to start to look at and find more ways to fix. But there's not just one island in the whole world. Many countries are known for this. Thailand is known for this. You go to Thailand, you can walk down the beach and pick out a 13-year-old that you want. It's not just Thailand. There's lots of countries, and I don't want to, get too political here, but it's not hard to find once you decide that you want to look into the darkness. I think she was first, then I'll get you, okay?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for what you do. It's gross. I had the opportunity years ago to work with a young woman that had been trafficked by a mom. She was using her own 15-year-old to troll other 15-year-olds on Snapchat because the messages evaporate.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have believed it had I not participated in it, and it's astounding. Fortunately, she was rescued and whatever, but how do we help you as a nonprofit? How do you guys fund yourselves? How
We
do
will
you-
get to that at the end. So
Yeah,
I'll-
let's let him get through his presentation before we do.
I do like you guys to ask questions if it's pertinent to what we're at this moment. If it's something at this moment, otherwise I'll probably be covering it later on.
We've got
So-
about 5-7 more minutes.
Okay,
Presentation.
we're almost there. I can cut it short. I can also keep it going for an hour if you guys want. But yeah, if it's not pertaining to what I'm talking about that exact second, just wait. I'll probably cover it. But if there is a question about something like how do we spot, I can try to help you with that. Again, it might be a one-on-one conversation. Go ahead.
I think it's relevant. When you're talking about your kids, so how do you keep your kids safe if they don't have a cell phone? Do you chip them? Like literally. I thought about chipping my
They
kids.
have limited freedom, and
Okay.
I feel that's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make, which means that they don't get to go to the park by themselves. I went to the park by myself all the time. My parents, we were the generation that come home when it's dark. I get to go to the park with them. They get dad to sit at the park bench, and I put my cell phone down and I don't look at it because that's how quick it happens. You can be at the park on your phone and look up and be like, they're gone.
My kids
So-
call me the fun sponge, so I just. And that, before the Roblox thing, when I started as a detective, Fortnite was a big one. So the chats on Fortnite were a way that the predators were getting kids lured to the park or wherever else. So, and of course my kids had to play Fortnite, and I was like, no, but it's just a balance. You gotta watch them, you gotta be careful. Like Mike said, I don't really let my kids do a whole lot, and I explain to them why, and I give them examples of some of the things that I've seen, some of the cases that we've worked, and like I said, once you scare them a little bit, you let them know like it's really out there, your kids will start pointing stuff out too, and they'll be like, nope, that guy's a creep.
It's not because you don't trust your children, it's because I don't trust the world.
Yeah.
And my kids know that. It's not that I don't trust my daughter, it's I don't trust the world with my daughter. My daughter's more important than a sleepover, I'm sorry. They will get over it. There might be a time or two where they get upset and you explain it to them and you sit down and you have that conversation once they're old enough to understand it. My 7-year-old does not understand it. He just thinks that dad is not fun. But the older ones, they get it. They're like, okay, yeah, like I've showed them the videos, I've had the conversations, they know what I do, they get it. They're not banging down the door trying to go have sleepovers anymore. Like that used to be a big deal in our house, so that's why I bring it up. Sleepovers, and I'm like,
Smart.
yeah. So, next. I think this is the video actually is the next. So I do have a little video.
You there, second
just-
desk blue jacket. What is your
Will you
name?
guys just watch this?
My name is Alexis.
Alexis. Please leave my lecture room. I don't want to see you at one of my lectures ever again.
I don't understand.
I am not gonna ask a second time. Thank you. Why are there laws? What are laws for? Anyone?
Social order?
To protect the person's personal rights.
so that you can rely on the government?
Justice? Thank you. Tell me, was I unfair to your classmate just now? Indeed I was. So, why didn't any of you protest? Why didn't any of you try and stop me? Why didn't you want to prevent this?
Alright, so this is just from a movie, but it brings a really important part. So, why do you guys, just, you know, you can just yell something out. Why do you guys think that people don't get involved? Why don't people try to stop the injustices of the world? And I'm not talking about like anything political in this moment, but just
Dangerous, fear, security. They think it might be them.
Social norm.
I think they don't wanna,
I heard some good ones in there.
they don't wanna unfairly accuse someone, maybe a parent when they see a scared child, maybe they just got in trouble for something, but do they call the police when, you know, the child is crying? So what's the balance between going too far?
So I would say there's two main reasons why when you will see something that you know is wrong or that you believe is wrong that will prevent you from doing anything. And the first one is fear. What if you're wrong? What it might be embarrassing. The other is indifference. And we have seen that countless times in the news recently about people seeing something happen and just not wanting to be involved. Whether it's the stabbing on the subway trains or something else, people are indifferent, and that is, in my opinion, the greatest evil that we have to fight today. There are evil people, there are Epsteins, but if we are all indifferent, then we are just as bad as they are, because we see it and we don't do anything. We look away. And that evil is affecting all of us. And so the question I would ask all of you is, what is a child's life worth? Is it worth that inconvenience of a phone call to the police to say, I saw something, maybe you're wrong, maybe you saved a child's life? So just imagine your own children and think, what is it worth? What would you do to save your own? Would you move heaven and earth, but you won't make a phone call for someone else? Do you have something? So again, indifference is what we're fighting. We're not fighting Epstein. We're fighting indifference in our communities, in America, because everyone is so involved about what's good for me, that they're not looking at their neighbor. They're not looking at their friend and being like, oh, maybe I should do something, because they're afraid or they're indifferent. And that's the real evil that I want you all to contemplate, that we have to battle. Because a lot of us aren't going to be the person kicking down a door, but all of us can see the signs and make a call. If you are wrong, and that is their son or their daughter, nothing bad happens to any of you. I don't know if people think that, like you might get a fine or the cops might get upset. No, you will get a thank you from a police officer if you report something suspicious that looks suspicious, even if it wasn't anything. It will be like, well, at least you were looking out. So my conclusion is, what can we do? Guess the video's long. Skipped a bit.
Should have let me do it.
I should. So the conclusion is, awareness is our biggest asset. Phones need to be down more often. Eyes need to be up. And when you see something that you feel in your heart is not right, a phone call to the police is all it takes. I've done this myself many times. It takes 2 minutes. So that's why I say, what is it worth? Is it worth 2 minutes? That's an inconvenience, or it's a child's life. So,
and our victims don't know any better. The victims don't know. So I had a lady reach out to me through my company, my security company, and very high profile. This lady, we'll call her Karen. Okay, so Karen called me and said, I'm the esthetician for all of the Real Housewives, females. And I have been in a domestic violence relationship, and I need security. And I said, no, Karen, you don't need security, you need justice. And I flipped from offering bodyguard work to reaching out to Las Vegas Metro PD, where we were actually able to apprehend the suspect who got charged with 8 counts of murder for hire just yesterday. So he was planning to have her murdered, and she thought I just needed a bodyguard to watch me while I sleep at night. And it's, no, we need to take care of the real problem. So that's the level. It goes through everybody, right? This lady, she's a very wealthy person, and I could have sold her security, but what good is that gonna do? Because then now that's my problem, right? Let's take care of the problem, let's get rid of it. So apparently he had a whole hit list of people that he was gonna hire to murder people, so.
Again, to add, a lot of the children don't know because they've been in that situation their whole life, and that's all you've ever known. That is your everyday. So sometimes they're not gonna run up and ask for help. That's why we have to see it and report it.
All right, we'll do our giveaway. Thanks, guys. It's great.
Realities for children.